Hi everybody. Today I want to show you an interesting thing you can do with Google Slides and maybe use slides in a way you never thought about before. So typically when we use slides, we use it as a presentation tool in the front of the class, or maybe we have kids make some slideshow presentations to present, and that's really what its main use is. But there's another way that you can use slides to make really interesting documents or even make some activities that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So the first thing that you want to do, I suggest whenever you open a new document or slideshow or anything of any kind, is to name it. That way you don't accidentally lose it in your drive and you can find it later if you want to. So I'm just going to call this Slides Demo. The second thing I want to do is I want to change this shape to be the shape of a piece of paper. So I'm going to go over here to File. I'm going to go down to Page Setup. And I'm going to change this to, so it should have started here at 16 by 9. I'm going to click that, go to Custom, and I'm going to change this to 8.5 by 11 inches. I'm going to hit Apply. And so now what has happened is this slide is a piece of paper. It is the exact size and shape of a piece of paper. And now we can use this to lay out things that we would normally put on a piece of paper. And when we print this, it will print as a piece of paper. So I'm going to close my themes over here so that I can get a bigger view. And if you want to zoom in a little bit, I typically like to zoom in a little. You can go to 100%. So this will look, like a Word document or something in front of you here. So what you can do, I'm going to zoom back out so that you can see the whole page. But what I want to do is I'm actually going to delete these things out of here. So I could start with a nice clean page. And let's just say I want to make some sort of a graphic organizer, maybe put some shapes in here or whatever. So I'm going to go up here to Shape, and I'm going to start putting in some shapes. So maybe this is a heading. Maybe I want to put in a circle, start a Venn diagram, something like that. So I can start with a Venn diagram here if I want to. I can put in, I could show relationships between things by putting in arrows. All kinds of different things that I can put in. I've got a bunch of examples I'm going to show you here in a minute. But you can make all kinds of things in here. Of course, you can enter a text box and type on here and all that, right? So you could do all these kinds of things in here and make a document you want. This is far easier to use this way than Google Docs is, because Google Docs wants to keep the formatting of a typed paper, and it's going to want to move all these shapes around and make them conditional to where the words are, is to where this allows you to lay the page out in ways that are maybe more visually appealing or more meet your needs in a way that Docs really won't let you do, because it doesn't want you to do that. It wants you to type a paper. So you could do all this and you can make all kinds of things. So let me show you some examples of things that you can make with this. So over here I have, we could make a little book about an author like Tolkien or something like that. And then here I have comparing 3 different types of economic systems. I have what would be your best place to live. You could make them fill out different criteria or different things in here. So pretty basic. Some other things you can have them do is you can create arrows and then put them off to the side of the page. Share this with a student, and then you put an image on here, and then they have to label the image, and they would drag these arrows to point at different people or things on there, parts of a cell, whatever. You would put that on there. You would eliminate this text box and replace it with an image. So then they label it, and then they would eliminate the typing in here, and they would type whatever they want in there. So you can have them drag that, and then they could turn that in electronically, and it would be like they labeled it on a piece of paper, but it's much easier to do on this. If you tried to do this on Google Docs, it would be nearly impossible. You can caption an image. You can put a person on here and give them a caption. What would they be saying or thinking? You could put vocabulary words in here. So you would go in and change these to a specific word that you want it to be, and then the students could go in and sort what those words fall into what category. Making maps, making comic strips, a lab report, so you're labeling parts of the report, a coordinate plane, some sort of Likert scale. You can make, like a newspaper article or something that's, maybe a little more visually interesting, or a poster, an infographic, whatever. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with this when you start to think of Google Slides as not just a presentation tool, but a way to create documents that are easier to work with than sometimes Google Docs is, where you don't really want a word processor. You want more like a graphic design type thing. So you have all these different little ways you can lay it out and color all these things in. And so I encourage you to just kind of try this and play with it. The coloring is really easy. It's just this bucket here, and you can make all kinds of colors. And if you're not printing it, if the kids are doing this online, then of course you retain those colors. If you print it, then it's probably going to be in black and white, so you want to be careful about the colors you use. But this is all just a different way of thinking about using Google Slides maybe than you have before. And remember, the key to all of this is starting with that formatting, which you go to File, Page Setup, and you want to hit Custom and change that to 8.5 by 11 inches. Make sure you don't have centimeters, pixels, something like that, because that's going to make a really different shape than you intend to. And then hit Apply. And you'll notice if I wanted to print this, get this out of our way, and I wanted to print this, just let it generate it here. What you'll see is that it will make a whole page per slide, and it looks really nice, almost like a book. So you could see how you can make these different pages for your kids to work on, or you could have them work on it just on their Chromebook as well. Hope you found this really helpful, and I just encourage you to give it a try. It's kind of fun, and you can make things in there that are really, really difficult to make on Google Docs.